It's funny. Um, Sat here and just did my whole thing, did my whole video, and I just went to hit the button and realized that I didn't press record, so I got to do it again. Um, Anyways, so nice to be here. Hope you're all well. And I think this is about the fourth time I've tried this now. Sometimes I'll start talking on camera and go off on my tangents, and it's like, okay, I can't say that. So I got to start all over. But this time I actually forgot to press record. So, anyways, um, so I'm going to share with you a little audio clip that came from a Facebook friend of mine, Deb Matthews, who had recorded this out in BC. I asked her permission if I can use this to show as a comparison to Neff's voice. And I've done that before with some audio from the U.S. from some campers. I think the name of it's something like Nefertia Vocal Comparisons from the U.S. and Canada, something like that. It's one of my videos. I think it's about a half an hour long, something like that. There's, I can understand why Deb would be excited to capture this recording, and I'm happy for anybody that captures their voice on audio, and especially when I get the chance to hear it, and it's more validation for what I've recorded and put out over the years. Both myself and Dwayne, and he has his own recordings and I have mine, and he doesn't really record anymore, but I have recorded since day one over 10 years. At this point, I use multiple recorders. I record both indoors and out because I have recorded many vocals and things happen indoors, due to their interdimensional nature. So I'll let you hear this, and then we'll move on. So it was some time ago. I've mentioned before I was involved in a group email, especially when John Bindernagle was alive and Dmitry Bayanov, both prominent science minds that were involved in the subject, pioneers involved in this subject for decades. John for over 40 years, and Dmitry since 1964, before I was born. And both were very supportive, regardless of the, squawking in their ears from people telling them to not take me seriously, And, I respect them for that. But it was, so being involved in that, which I pulled out of that quite some time ago. There was some names involved in there that, are well known in the subject, and one of them being a very well-known anthropologist whose name I won't mention, but everybody knows him. His face is plastered on every Bigfoot documentary out there, basically. He's propped up as an expert anthropologist anyways. Definitely not an expert on Sasquatch. There are none, and anybody that gets close enough understands that contact experience, that's where you learn, right? So he doesn't have any. I have lots. This was the very first cast from Nefertia. You can actually see there's skin folds there. This was cast on April 13th, 2013. And it was the end of the winter. The temperature was just perfect to pour casting material and show those dermal lines. I was really happy about that. I had made a mold of this using a two-part epoxy so I could make, cast copies. It's not the biggest cast. It's only 12 inches in length. I was told by John at the time that the length was within the human range, obviously, but the width was not. It was, excuse me. So it was over years later that I would post some photos in this group email, and some of them were prints and casts, and I was called out by this certain anthropologist and told that this was wearing a shoe. But first of all, this was a cast copy was given to Les Stroud and John Bindernagel. I didn't know that there would be a television show where they would it would be John, Les, and Jeff Meldrum talking about. They had a table full of casts, and they were talking about hoax, prints, and casts. And at one point, Les is asked, "Which one do you want to scan?" And he pointed to this one, the cast copy I gave him. I didn't know he was doing this. I had no idea. So they laser scanned it. This is a photo of the laser scan. So it was deemed authentic. Told to Dwayne through phone text. Real deal, he said. After back and forth texts there. And what's interesting was they never stated if it was authentic or not on the television show. They left it hanging. So they laser scan this thing and then just leave the result hanging. Why? I got to question why. Bias, that's why, in my opinion. Because it comes from me. And I am controversial in this subject. Hugely controversial, because I don't hold back. I tell it just like it is, and some people don't like that. It's when you put out truth, when you get as close as I have, it's a shit show. But I'm still here. I'm not going away. I actually enjoy rattling the cage. I enjoy rocking the boat. I want to sink it. This is how I think. I don't like the mainstream narrative. I don't adhere to it. I never have. I see right through it. I don't follow. I never have. I blaze my own trail, and I always will. So it was. This was deemed authentic, and then years later, I would post photos in a group, and this anthropologist would basically state that this is wearing a shoe, which I assume because of the curl in the toes. You look at you're assuming that all Sasquatch should have, none of that, considering they're not wearing shoes, right? This is Ninyanin, a younger male in the family. November 19th, 2022, this was documented. So he's been quite a prominent figure in more recent times. Neff seems to kind of be backing off a bit, and it's a lot of Ninyanin. He's a bit of a troublemaker too. I know by his voice, which I've heard on several occasions, I can tell by his voice he's still very young. In fact, I've said many times, if you spoke to one of their children on the phone, you would not be able to tell the difference between them and us. They sound just like us. And yes, they can speak English, and they know how to manipulate and use our electronics as well, all of them. So this is Neff at 17 years old. I was told his age at 25. I backtracked that to put this at 17, give or take. This is Ninyanin at, I estimate, about 14, 15 years old. And look at the size difference already. He's younger than Neff was here. He's already, he's a strapping young lad. He's a big boy. But what's interesting, look at his little toe. Same trait as Neff's. He's got that curl. Is this wearing a shoe too, Mr. Anthropologist? No, he's not. He's got the same trait, hereditary marking, whatever you want to call it. He's got that same curl in his toe. And these are both original casts. Um, this guy left two prints, maybe 15, 20 feet apart, right beside us, basically. One of them was right beside us when we were outdoors. He left hand marks too. So he has been, like I said, he's a bit of a troublemaker, but not in a malevolent way. You know, he's done some things that, you know, smells up my nose, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to show that trait there, and you know, just basically expose that some of the bias involved in this subject, you know, towards me for sure, 100%. So this was the first cast from Neff's print. This is December 1st, 2018. This is also Neff's print. And it goes here. There's a little bit of extra material there. So what's funny was there was, I think this was 14 or 14 and a half, something like that. I can't remember the exact length. If you look, there's red squirrel markings on there. So what was funny was there was no red squirrel trackway going up to the print. I've told this story before. We were on another part of the property. We'd seen some of these tracks, and Dwayne had asked, "What are those?" I said, "They're red squirrel." And then later on, when I went to pull that cast, it was almost like Neff had grabbed a red squirrel and stuck its feet into the cast, because there was no trackway, right? It was just, there was you know, some of our prints around it and that, but I looked, there was no red squirrel trackway, just these marks right in the cast, which I've, you know, is that what he did? I don't know. I'm just speculating, right? And then from December 1st, 2018 to February 23rd, 2021, this is 2 inches bigger. This is a 16-inch print now. I didn't get the full width just because of the way the snow was. These are all cast in snow. I didn't get the full length. So, but I did get I didn't get the full width, but I got the full length. The length is spot on, basically, 16-inch print. And I was told by Mr. Anthropologist that this was a double print. There was another print behind it. I don't even think he saw that. It was, you know, there was a bit of space between them. And actually, I didn't see it at first. I'd stepped in it. But this was one full print from Neff. He knew I wanted to see his foot, right? He always knows that I want to see the growth on his foot. So I was basically told that you still got that, you know, that curl in that bottom toe there, right? Basically, I've documented 6 inches of growth over 10 years on Neff's foot. So as of April, the beginning of April this year, his foot is now 18 inches, 6 inches on the width. And I didn't cast that because it was the very last chance. The snow was not good. It was the last chance of the year. I was, you know, really happy that he had done that he had left that. So it allowed me to document that growth as the end of last winter, which, you know, like I said, was the beginning of April this year. So that is 6 inches of growth with 4 different foot sizes documented over 10 years with the same Sasquatch family member. I don't think there's anybody else that has been able to do that. You know, as far as vocals and all that, like I said, I'm really, really happy to hear when others capture their vocalizations, as I'm able to show the comparisons, right, and just add more validity to what I've shared over the years. I've been very open about their interdimensional nature, and, you know, I get called all kinds of names for what I share, and that's fine. That really actually just exposes who you are as a person yourself. You know what's going on within your own self. Because I know I speak truth. And it's not a belief. Anything that I am sharing, if it's speculated, I will state speculation, or I'm taking a guess, or whatever. Otherwise, it's knowing from much experience, firsthand experience. I've developed this contact over the years. I have no control over it. They show up when, where, how they choose. They show their presence in a multitude of ways. Marbles have been a predominant item of a port that they have used to a point where it's normal for me to see a marble come out of thin air. It's absolutely insane how many marbles I've seen come out of thin air. It's they give these little bits and pieces. They're fleeting moments. They show up, they give something, and it's over. I gift indoors at this point. I don't even gift outside. The communication, written communication, it's all indoors. A lot of the activity happens indoors. Vocalizations. A lot of the stuff is very subtle. A lot of the time, it's almost like you're being trained, to pay attention. Small little vocals and that sort of thing. But I record both indoors and out, and this is my passion. It's something I will continue to do, and I'm grateful for the support of all of you who trust and believe in what I'm sharing, and for the rest of you that want to call me whatever you want. That's that's your prerogative. Hey, I hope one day you come around and you figure it out yourself. Maybe you'll get your own experience that'll change your mind and flip your world upside down, and you'll see that what I've been speaking about is the truth of matters. I'm not here to maintain the narrative. I'm here to bring truth, and that's all it is, right? That's all I'm here for. So thanks for showing up. You guys are great. I really do appreciate the support, as always, and I'll see you soon.
Sulfur,